Welcome everyone to our Tuesday night chat. I'm Kelly Wilkins, your host from My Self-Reliance. It's so good to be with you today. We are 10 sleeps away from our Self-Reliance Festival. So super excited. I want to run through and tell you a little bit about what we've got coming up. But first of all, want to do an introduction and thank Craig and Nina for jumping on tonight. They are our guest speakers. Welcome, Craig and Nina.
Thank you very much. Hi there. We're very happy to have come into your orbit a few weeks ago. Excited to share what we've been doing and hopefully add some value to some of the members on the call tonight.
Beautiful. Yeah, well, so one of the things that we'll be doing at this festival, so if you haven't had a chance to jump on the website, you can go to myselfreliant.com.au and you'll be able to see the whole schedule there. We've broken up the festival into 3 sections with a lot of great entertainment and really beautiful activities in between. So we're starting each day with a yoga session, an ice bath if you like. We're going to do a beautiful circle of love meditation. Tara is leading us in that. Each day, Saturday and Sunday, we'll be starting the morning that way. And then we'll jump into the first of our keynote talks, which will be all centered around food and food security. So we actually have a little change in schedule. We actually have the first speaker. It will be the lovely speaker we had on last week, Serene Tafaha. So she's going to lead us in our we are going to have lots of workshops. We've got Paul here tonight. He's doing microgreens, lots of foodie workshops, cheese making, fermentation. We have how to grow food, and if you've got land, you want to go along to Tom's workshop. And then after lunch, we're going to have some really great speakers talking about emergency preparations. So everything to do with what to put in your emergency grab and go bag, to how to have security. We've got Kydridge with us with your IT solutions, money solutions, with the new People's Reserve or People's Economy. The new economy is coming. And so, well, also, I'm very excited about this one, emergency situation simulator. So you can take you through a simulation, and Adam and Sandra from 888. So all of that on Saturday afternoon, followed up by a barn dance Saturday night. So excellent way to end the day. Lots of fun, getting to know people. And then we also have the next day, some really great speakers. And of course, Craig and Nina will be talking on Sunday morning. And lots of different areas around elevating yourself to the next level, getting the most out of life and love, and having the best start of the day. I'm going to doing a workshop myself called the Jigsaw, and how that's an acronym for how to get started with the Power Hour. So let's, without any further ado, want to hand over to Craig and Nina, and they've got a story to share. And Craig and Nina have been setting up lighthouses up and down the east coast of Australia, and really connecting people with their heart-centered community. So welcome, Craig and Nina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Let me just move over to speaker view so we can see you better. There we are. And can you tell us, leading up to this point, tell us where you got started and give us a little bit of background.
Okay, well, it's been a bit of a whirlwind year for us. We only actually met just under 9 months ago at an event. It was a bit of a freedom rally down Wollongong Way near Shell Harbour, and it was also a festival of love. So it was a bit of a kind of freedom hippie vibe. And I'd been down half an hour from where Nina lives in Nowra. I'd been caring for my brother's stage 4 liver cirrhosis of the liver. And I'd been following Nina online because she was very active in her community politically. She'd done 3 campaigns, and she went into politics to wake up her local community. And anyway, to cut a long story short, I met her online and I reached out to her from Sydney, and I just said I was very impressed in how she was supporting her community. I said, keep up the great work. I said, what you're doing is really making a difference. And inadvertently, she followed that up with an invitation. So anyway, so Nina invited me to that rally. And I went down there, about 2-hour drive south of Sydney. And on the day, because she was a public figure, she was very busy and didn't really have much time to chat with me. But she did apologise for that and said, look, when you get a chance, if you want to come back down to Nowra, I'd love to go out to dinner with you and have a one-on-one chat. But the one last thing I want to say about the festival is that Nina was dressed up as Wonder Woman because she's a very sanguine personality, and she does that for the children when she goes out to these rallies and festivals, etc. So anyway, I met my Wonder Woman at a festival of love, is the long story short. And then as a result, the last 8 months, we got together. I came back in 2 weeks to Nowra to follow up, and she said, look, I'll make you dinner at home because if we go to a restaurant, we won't even get to chat because everyone will be coming up to us. So being Italian background, she made me a lovely Italian meal, and that started our friendship, which I had the foresight to book a motel in Nowra for a couple of nights, and that one date turned into us going to Canberra the following morning because it was the anniversary of the Millions March in Canberra. So we spent 3 hours in the car talking each way, and we realised that we're pretty much on the same path, walking at the same pace, and all we really had to do is reach out hands and hold hands, and a relationship started to bloom. Now she was going into her 3rd political campaign, and I said, well, what if I, because I've got a life coaching and business coaching background, I said, what if we try to tackle it a bit differently? Because she was trying to wake up, people locally. I said, what if we try to put heart back into politics, and I be your campaign manager and I'll write your speeches? So this time around, she thought she'd try to do that and go into the political arena and go to all the forums and do it from a heart-centered perspective. Well, what we learned was quite amazing. People in politics just couldn't handle coming from that heart center, from the love space. And every time we went to a forum, we were pretty much censored 100%. So that was a little bit about that story. But from that came we learned within a couple of short weeks that we had to develop a program to help people, particularly in the freedom movement, that had been down lots of deep rabbit holes in the last few years, and maybe they suffered a lot of stress and anxiety and depression, and were finding it hard to be able to move forward. So we put our heads together and we came up with a program that we're now taking up and down the east coast of Australia to help people move from that space of cognitive dissonance, I guess you'd say, because a lot of us have, gone places we haven't wanted to really go in the last few years, and we haven't known how to, move forward from that. So we developed a workshop which we call Being Heart-Centered Beings, and it's basically an empowerment journey towards self-love. And that's what we take around to communities to share, to help people to step into their heart center and then create a life by design. I might just give Nina a few minutes to tell you her political background, because she's also a 32-year qualified nurse.
Yeah, hi everyone. I've had 2 hats. I was a 32-year nurse, and at the time of this pandemic thing, I was the clinical nurse consultant for Parkinson's New South Wales. So I had 700 patients under my wing, and I alerted my CEO and I said, I don't think we should be giving our people this medication that hasn't been tested. I read from a study that it probably gives prion disease, which is what Parkinson's dementia is. I was very, very quickly shut down by all my colleagues. And I was on, so aside being a nurse, my background, intensive care, emergency, cardiology, general practice, Aboriginal health. I have an extensive clinical background over the 32 years. And during the camp, I ran for mayor for the council elections. I was already on Shoalhaven City Council for 5 years previously. So I actually was with the Greens when I thought they were actually quite for humanity. And then in my last term of my last year of council, I left the Greens and I went independent. And then the pandemic happened. And so I was on my own, trying to create my own group of people. And then one by one, they all got the jab, and the whole political movement, disassembled. So it looked like I was a cooker in my town. So, but I still stood for mayor, and I stood for the state campaign and the federal seat, because I was really trying to help wake up my community. I knew it wasn't going to get in. It was all rigged. So I went into politics firstly because I saw the health system in complete disarray. And I thought, oh, if I go into politics, maybe I can help sort out where money should go. Oh my God, how naive was I? So, I no longer do politics because I realized I was fighting. I was like, yes, come, I was very passionate. I was fighting. And what we worked out between us is that I can't heal people while I'm still fighting. So I had to go on a journey of saying goodbye to Joan of Arc and Wonder Woman and all this stuff that my ego was holding on to, and let go of all that and learn to stand in the heart center and be authentic with my community, with my clients, my patients, my family. And so it's a huge spiritual journey.
That's a beautiful story. And I love that, because it's not often that we have somebody on this channel who has that background. You either are political minded and activist minded, or maybe you go the other way, you're more of a prepper. But seeing that transition from the both of you, being able to go, look, we worked solidly at that, and really what needs to happen here is a big shift, and it started within yourself first. So yeah, it's beautiful. So how did you make that transition? What happened for you?
Start with reinventing yourself.
Yeah, well, that's right. I had to reinvent myself. So when I lost my job, I was dobbed into the Healthcare Complaints Commission and AHPRA, and so I lost my registration. So my livelihood went in front. I was on $100,000 a year. I was doing very well, and I was also earning money from being at council. So I was doing really well financially. Though I was no way I was going to get that injection. So I actually had to reinvent myself. So I did some research about vibrational medicine, and I came across Royal Raymond Rife and his work, and I went, oh my God, this guy was curing people of cancer and other diseases. Why don't we know about this? And here's me going, I'm a highly qualified nurse, been to university, and had no idea that this technology was available for everyone, and we could actually cure cancer and other diseases. So then I went down that rabbit hole, and I bought the Spooky 2 machine, and then I started healing people in my community with the Rife machine. So I bought a little area in Nowra, and I set it up as a hub. So I've had a health hub there for a year, and I was treating people in my community underground, and I cash in hand. I'm not in the system, and now people who are jabbed are coming to see me. They're waking up and they need hope. They go to their doctors, they go to the hospital. The doctors say nothing we can do for you. They're presenting with the turbo cancer, the pericarditis. But we do have remedy. I'm glad to say it's not only the vibrational medicine, but there's also some, we've got our product TDS, colloidal gold, colloidal silver, and we can give people hope. It's so exciting, because before we didn't have a clue how we were going to get this rubbish out of people's body and give them back their life. And that's our commitment to humanity. So we're on the same mission to do that.
Well, that's very exciting, because 2 weeks ago we had on Zach, who heals people with frequency. But he said, no, I can't help you. If you're already jabbed, this is not for you. And so what you're saying is we can help you if you've already had the shot or the booster or whatever, and then come to you. So how does it work? What and by the way, Nina, it sounds like, so you were doing this work, healing people, and then you met Craig?
Yeah, he saw what I was doing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't at my full potential because I didn't know the whole potential of this Spooky 2 machine. And the Craig, he had a session on Rife. You explain your session on Rife. Yeah, well, what happened to you?
In those 3 days that I came down to get to know Nina better, and I booked a motel room, on the 3rd day, she actually got me to experience the Rife healing machine. And she put me on a few protocols. One of them was chakra balance. One was pineal gland, expanding, awakening. One was irritable bowel, because I'd had irritable bowel for 40 years. And inflammation. I think they were the main 4. But what happened to me in the next hour and a half was quite phenomenal. It's like I felt layers just falling off me and falling off my heart. Like there was a lot of stuff that I had, a lot of layers that I was protecting myself from hurt, because I'd been twice divorced, and I'd been keeping people at a distance, and I just felt everything just shed. And I said to Nina, I said, oh my God, I feel like everything that I've built up in my life has just fallen away. I said, this is phenomenal. So from that, what I wanted to do was find out what more this machine could do. And because I've coached a lot of small businesses with my business coaching, I saw Nina struggling to reinvent herself in that she didn't have any systems. So because she's, very sanguine and she kind of very flighty, somebody would come to see her and she'd move all over the place, but didn't have any set processes. So first thing I wanted to do was give her some, systems and some processes.
And I had trouble asking for money, hey, like I gave a lot of free sessions. I just felt so guilty that these people sit, because the system set me up that I earn money from the government and people don't pay nurses money. So I didn't know how to ask, never had to ask for money before, and I was floundering financially in that, like I could, So, and that's the other reason, Craig came in to help me with the systems and give me confidence to appreciate energy exchange.
Yeah, so I coached her through that, and I wrote her a protocol for clients when they came in, how to take them from the old illness model into the new wellness model. So I gave her some systems, and then I taught her how to ask for that exchange, as an energy exchange. Don't think of it as selling, because most people don't think they can sell, but selling is just an exchange of energy. So once she understood that, she was fine. And then she started to, have paying customers, which is sustainable, as opposed to, trying to gift everything. But then
that's a very important point too, right? Because a lot of us have grown up with money issues, and that's really, we can excel and love, but we can confuse those two things, where we gift and where we love, and where do we give too much of ourselves and then become depleted and we can't give anymore. So that's a very important part of that energy exchange.
And do you know what? As we go from community to community up and down the east coast of Australia, we find the same thing everywhere. There's really good people in the healing medical space that have come out of the old model, and they don't know how to reinvent themselves. Right. So what that turned into is I've created a train the trainer manual to help these healthcare or former healthcare wellness practitioners to be able to reinvent themselves and become lighthouses in their community. So if somebody wants to align with us, that's free coaching that we give them, because our mission is to light up the community wherever it is so that they can help their community, because we can't be everywhere. Right. So we gift the coaching.
Yeah, that's a brilliant, it's a brilliant plan and brilliant system, because that's something that helps us to all grow. All ships rise with the rising tide. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I've never met anyone like Craig before who's so generous and so giving, like so kind-hearted. Because, you know, some of us girls out there think, oh, it's impossible to find anyone, one unjabbed, who's like kind and generous and, you know, has a heart for humanity. And just going to say, girls, that there are beautiful men out there, and we need to honour the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And that's the other thing we want to bring to our workshops is reminding each other to honour our divinity, because there's all this nonsense with the gender stuff, and we just need to really support our young people to see what male and female are and how they work together. Yeah.
Right, and that each gender has a specific role to play.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can wear pink, and it's absolutely fine.
I'm wearing black.
Yeah. And on Sunday in our workshop in Newcastle, she wore pink and I wore black.
But it is to honour our relationships, honour our community. We have to get back to our old-fashioned values, and a lot of Craig's work is around those sort of conversations, but deeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what do you cover then in your workshops when you're teaching and training people?
Well, what we do, it's basically an empowerment journey towards self-love. All right. So maybe if I can go to some of the slides, I can give you a bit of an insight into it. But before we do that, just one other thing I wanted to mention. When Nina was doing the Rife sessions with the people, one thing I noticed was that it was all good to be able to ask for $50 for an hour's healing session, which is a reasonable price given that a doctor can charge $75 for 10 minutes. But I said, darling, a lot of people can't afford that. So that's why I wanted to find out what more this machine could do, so I could find out how we could price it a little bit more affordable for people. And what happened is it made us realize that there was another way to use the technology. And we found out about quantum entanglement, where you can do remote healing with a spliced DNA. Now, there were 4 ways to get the spliced DNA. There was this fingernail, the hair follicle, the saliva, and the blood. Now, just to cut it short, we found out that the fingernail lasts the longest. It lasts for a month. All the others are 2 or 3 days. So what we found out is we could take a person's fingernail, put it into a Rife machine at home, and we can give them 24/7 frequency healing through quantum entanglement. So that means they can be at home, they can be at work, they can be going about their day, and they're getting healing 24 hours a day. So what we started to do is we built bundles around things that we knew were going to be coming up in the next 12 to 24 months. Like Nina mentioned, the pericarditis, the myocarditis, the autism, the turbo cancers. And we've got bundles for each of those things. So as we meet people, we invested in 20 more machines so that we can have each machine devoted to each health challenge, whether it's an acute or a chronic, protocol. And in the last 4 months, we believe we've built the biggest Rife frequency healing center in Australia with the 20 machines. Now, a lot of what I've done, I get downloads when I'm in the shower, kind of a bit weird. But what's even weirder is that my downloads come in forms of flip charts, right? Probably because I've been doing it for so long. And I came out of the shower one day and I said, darling, I know how to fix this pricing structure thing. I said, we're going to start a gym. And she goes, a gym? I said, yeah. I said, people can join our frequency gym, and every month they pay $50 and they get healing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which works out at 7 cents an hour. I said, now we've solved that problem of not being able to afford it. And so 11 weeks ago, we launched our frequency gym on the road, and we've got 92 members in our first 11 weeks. So that means we've got 92 people in our garage healing at the moment while we talk to you.
Oh, that's extraordinary.
So we're pretty excited.
And
yes.
With that, because of my clinical background, I do over the phone coaching and support while they're on that. That just comes as part of the pricing. These people are, they mean something to us. They become like family. And so one guy particularly had the jabs, and his brother had cancer, but he won't go back to a doctor, but he thought he might have it. So we put him in the cancer protocol. And he rang me up and goes, oh my God, I've had this almighty bowel movement. It's like it was full of mud. And I went, wow, okay. So we know that this technology is treating people. We got asking them to keep their testimonies, write down their symptoms, what's happening to them on a daily basis, so that we can be sure that we're monitoring them and that they feel comfortable, with what we're doing for them, because it is new.
It's not really new. It's 90 years, but
it's old. And
it's been suppressed.
Yeah, suppressed.
Yeah, so it's kind of had a rebirth.
And I do know someone who is part of your gym who was so excited when I shared that you were on tonight. And so, yeah, you've certainly got a fan base. So super good. And so then what cities have you been to and are going to next?
Okay, well, we've done Central Coast, Blue Mountains, Orange, Dubbo, Bellingen, Wollongong, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Newcastle, Eurobodalla. We've done 14 so far.
Yeah.
We've got another 5 in the next month. We're going to Coffs Harbour, Port Macquarie, Wollongong again, Sydney, first one in Sydney next month. And we're looking to do a few in Sydney next month if anyone on the call would like to help organise one with their group. And then, of course, we're talking at Jaws on the 22nd as well. So we've got a big October. We only had one weekend free in October.
Now, you were going to show us more about what you actually cover in your workshops, and without having to give away your...
I'll share a few slides.
Oh,
yeah.
no, give away. It is to give away, because everyone, it's our gift to humanity.
Well, you'll do a little bit in the workshops on the Sunday.
So yeah, everybody gets a handout.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so one thing about what I did with my workshops is I wanted to build templates where we could gift them to the audience, and during the workshop, I teach them how to coach their loved ones, their family, their friends, their children, their grandchildren. So what I do is I build the language of coaching into the framework. So then it becomes like a coach in a box tool for the people, so they can take it back into their community, whether they're a mum or a grandmother, or they've got friends or colleagues they want to discuss the document with. They can just dance in and out of the template and use it as their own framework to be able to have a conversation. So what we're starting with on Sunday is this. We coach people holistically. So we want to, when we're working with them, we want to make sure. So if a client came into Nina's Wellness Hub, she wants to coach them basically to talk about their health set. So where they have their challenges physically. Then we talk to them about the mindset. So the health set's the yellow one, the mindset's the blue one, which is their mental frame of mind. Then we look at their soul set, their spiritual being, the purple one, and then the green one is the heart set, the emotional part of them. All right, so we're going to, as we coach them, we're going to go through all those 4 areas. I just want to make this a bit bigger for you, so that by the end of the workshop, they're going to be standing in their heart center. All right, now what's important about looking at them holistically is that by balancing the people in all these 4 key areas, then we can show them how they can open the portal to the unified field and be able to start to create a life of design for themselves. All right. So we basically teach them that if you can stand in your heart center, all right, get what we believe the real health pandemic is the disconnect between the head and the heart. All right. So if you watch what's happened the last 4 years, everybody's been moved into their head, sitting in fear. The anxiety, depression levels have been growing. And what we realized when we were discussing putting this together is that we probably were further from our heart center than we'd ever been, spending the last 4 years going down all the rabbit holes and finding that all the world governments have been doing all this destructive stuff to, humankind. So what we want to teach is that if you can actually get out of your head and go into your heart, what you find is that you're able to tap into the unified field, and then you can create whatever you want, right? But whilst you're sitting in your head and you're sitting in fear, you can't create from that point of view, all right? So what we teach is that if you can sit in your heart set, your mind will become still, your vision will become clear, your soul will become lit, and your heart will become calm, all right? Now, this one here might look a little bit complex on this screen, but I'll just blow it up a little bit. So with the mindset, we cover things like language and spells. And I guess we've learned a lot, all of us, over the last 4 years about the power of words and how they can have, we can cast spells on each other and on ourselves. And one thing I expand on here is that if you know anything about Dr. Emoto with his study of water and the effect that words can have on water, all right, when you consider that we're 70% water and a lot of our language is negative self-talk, it can have a very destructive impact on us. So we like to help people to be more mindful about how they talk to themselves and to others, right? Because the whole part of this journey towards self-love is that if you can love yourself more, then you can love your fellow neighbor more, all right? So the pathway to loving each other is loving yourself first, all right? And then we look at things like mind hacks. So the mantras and affirmations. So we give brief lessons on how to build really powerful mantras. My introduction mantra is called the Everywhere Set. So it goes like this: every day in every way, with every step and every breath I take. And then you put on the end of it what you want to achieve. You know, it might be I become fitter, I become healthier, I become stronger. But with that, the way that mantra is structured, it's a really good introductory one for children. They can't not think about it when you think about the way it's structured, every day, in every way, with every breath and every step. So it's right at the top of their mind, helping them to think about it. And then there's the I am affirmations, darling. What about that one?
You're going to get me to speak.
Yeah, come on.
So we understand that I am's two of the most powerful words in the English language. So whatever comes after that will be your reality. And so we teach people about that. It's a little bit biblical as well. Yeah, so we won't move on to the next.
Yeah, do you know what? Remember we've learned over the last 4 years that, you know, they reveal everything to us, and then you've just got to work out how to decode it.
That's right.
And if you think for the last 2,000 years plus, we've been running these savior programs where we keep looking outside for the answers. You know, we might be looking for a political savior or a spiritual savior, or, you know, we might even think of, you know, the rapture or the Galactic Federation going to save us, etc., etc. But it's been right under our nose all this time. You know, even the scriptural verse, I am the way, the truth, the life. If you read it with the comma where it should be, it's I am. So go inside. That's the way, the truth, the life. You know, it's within. It's not going out. You know, it's like someone over there saying, I'm the way. It's not. It's I am. That's the way, the truth, and the life. You know, and that one distinction alone can help people to take responsibility, take ownership, and start to look in for the answers. Because one thing we train people is that if you go in, you will always find the answer. If you look out, you can spend a lifetime looking out and still maybe never find the answer. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack.
That's brilliant, Craig, because once you understand that, you can never unsee it, right?
Exactly.
And it's a challenging conversation because we do have a lot of Christians in the freedom movement who really won't deal with that one. So we have to be sometimes a little bit gentle with where people are at. Yeah, ready to hear that conversation. But yeah,
well, there is a little bit of taking responsibility too. Once you hear that, it's like I am and I am not as well. So yeah, there's two sides of that coin, and realizing that the blame isn't over there. You know, we can take responsibility, but it's a good thing. It's a good way that we take responsibility.
Absolutely, it's empowering.
Yeah, we do a whole in our 3-hour workshop. So we created this mini workshop for you on the 22nd. So I actually now have another workshop, which is great. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Because we actually went to the communities with a 3-hour workshop. And in that, I have a model called the cause victim rescue model around what you were saying, Kelly, where it's we live our life below the line of responsibility. All right. So we teach people about the language patterns to identify, which basically there are 3 language patterns when you're not taking responsibility. There's we lay blame. You know, we blame other people for why we do what we do. You know, it's not my fault. You know, my father was a bastard. You know, we might justify what we do. You know, I don't have a problem drinking. I used to drink a lot more, but now I only have a few. So, or we might deny, you know, deny that we even have, you know, challenges that are stopping us from taking responsibility. And once we teach people how to identify the language patterns, it actually helps them to take ownership and take responsibility. And then if you see whether you've been a rescuer or a victim, and once you see the patterns, then you can make the changes. All right. And if you want to stop being a victim, then you can take responsibility and stop playing that game. Or Nina shares in the workshop. What about you with your career?
I was a classic rescuer as a nurse. I was, you know, I'm the hero, you know, dressed up as Wonder Woman. But what I did learn that my rescuing kept people as victims. So as a nurse, I had all the answers. I was who you came to if you needed something. And when I got the reality of how disgusting that was and how small I kept people, I shed that one very quickly because I'm not committed to having people, you know, feel lower than what they actually are. So I'm unable to empower them while I'm rescuing. So I had to give that game up.
That's beautiful, you know, because it's as simple as really, sometimes those things are in your blind spot.
Yeah.
Aren't they? And they're existing and you just don't know you're operating on top of what you think is your strength. But really it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? But when you bring it out of your blind spot and you're able to name it and, you know, label it and you go, oh, and then you have a choice. And once you have a choice, you're like, haha, that's not serving me anymore. And it's certainly not serving humanity. I'll just let go of that one. And it's as simple as that. And I love that you have demonstrated that and now are sharing that with others.
Do you know, it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful to watch Nina get that insight, because when she had that aha moment that she was an enabler, and then she realized that she was a program nurse. So she went into nursing for all the right reasons, but then she'd realized that she'd become this enabler. And that she was helping people run this, what we call the white coat syndrome, you know, where the doctor knows best for you, what's best for your body, which is a load of hogwash. So once she got that, then it's like as a healer, she just stepped up and people started to feel safe around her and they would come to her. Whereas when she was in the political space fighting, they didn't feel safe enough, even though they knew that she was outside the system, they still didn't feel safe enough to come to him and admit that they were vaccine injured and they needed help. But once her energy shifted and she took responsibility, and then she realized that, you know, she could really help people by not keeping them victims, but empowering them to make the changes, then it all just turned around for her.
Love it. I love it. Do you want to scroll up so we can see you're going to share more of what's on your screen?
Yeah. Now, I'll just do... oh,
yes. You talked about that white coat. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Then we go into things like on the soul set, the spiritual side. I'm just going to jump to a few so we don't take all the time. Yep. So we teach a lot around the elemental code. All right. So the 4 elements are being underutilized by humanity. And that's because we've been made to, you know, be afraid of the sun, for instance, whereas the sun's our greatest ally, right? We teach people the power of sun gazing, you know, either half an hour either side of sunrise and sunset. If you look straight at the sun, it's the fastest way to supercharge your immune system. That's why they kept us indoors during lockdowns, because they didn't want people to get the sun and the healing benefits of the sun. Our eyes are solar panels, right? Another reason why they tell us to wear sunglasses. You shouldn't be wearing sunglasses. It throws your serotonin and melatonin levels out, right? Then there's structured water. You know, putting your water out in the sun for half an hour gives it an extra oxygen molecule. That has amazing health benefits, doesn't it, darling?
Yeah. Yeah. Increased oxygen in our body reduces our acidic environment and promotes well-being, helps our immune system at cellular level. We oxygenate and we heal. We heal.
Then there's grounding. You know, we are batteries that need to be charged when we connect to the earth. One of the evilest inventions was the rubber sole to disconnect us, to run our batteries flat. So whenever you get a chance, take your shoes off. If you work in the city and there's only concrete jungle around you, you know, you can still ground by putting your hands on a brick wall or a cement wall. You can't ground by standing on bitumen because that's a petroleum product. And then the fourth one, the free element, is the deep belly breathing, you know, which, like Kevin introduced us to you, Kevin does a lot of his workshops around, you know, the breath and the healing power of the breath. We don't do diaphragmatic breathing anymore. Women in particular breathe too shallow. Yeah. So those 4 tips, they're all free and they're all, you know, the elemental code, we call them. Yeah. And then other things, the health set, the physical side, the yellow one, you know, a big part of taking responsibility is, you know, learning about germ theory versus, you know, the terrain theory. You know, germ theory was a big lie made up by Louis Pasteur. He admitted it on his deathbed, even though he got a Nobel Prize. The pharmaceutical industry made him lie so that they could then produce all these vaccines. Right? It's like the fish tank, you know, you don't vaccinate the fish because the tank's dirty, you clean the terrain. You clean the tank. So everything we coach around the wellness space is around cleaning your terrain.
Look, and we really have some harsh conversations with people here because in the freedom movement particularly, they've been eating and drinking more because they've been
smoking more
and they've been depressed and all this stuff. And a lot of them were putting on weight. They were in rabbit holes. So we have these tough love conversations about them really looking at their diet, their sleep and their exercise and learning to honor their body and just being mindful of what they're doing to themselves and coming from a place of self-love as they feed their body, as the thoughts go into their body, through this whole process collectively.
Yeah, wow.
And then the heart set, the green one, you know, we talk about tapping into the unified field a bit. You know, you need to love yourself to love others. And we expand about the power of 2. The magnification of 2 is phenomenal. If you can stand in your heart center, which is really the seat of creation, and it's what Eckhart Tolle used to talk about, the power of now. Because when you're in your head, you're either you're worrying about tomorrow or you're stressed about the past, but you're not present, you're not in the moment. But when you're standing in your heart center, that's the seat of creation. That's where you can create whatever you want. And if you can get into your heart center and then go and do that in your community with others, then 1 + 1 no longer equals 2.
Why don't you share the manifestation that we've created through doing that? Just share.
All right, for instance, you know,
just listen to his story. It's absolutely amazing. We want to give you hope.
Just in the last month, right? About 6 weeks ago, we started to do a deliberate manifestation, right? Morning and night, we would together, we would lock arms in bed, first thing in the morning, last thing at night. And we would focus on manifesting a benevolent investor to help us expand what we're doing, right? So we did it religiously, an hour every morning, an hour every night, because we don't have millions of dollars to be able to buy a real big, you know, wellness hub and have all this fancy equipment and all that. So I said to Nina, we don't need to have money. We need to learn how to use the power of leverage. That's my favorite business principle, the power of leverage. So we did it morning and night religiously for an hour. And within a week of that, after a month of doing that, a man who'd followed Nina politically, locally, and reached out to her about 1.5 years ago and wanted to see how she'd reinvented herself. And she said she'd, you know, gone down the path of doing vibrational medicine. And he wanted to consider investing in her, but he didn't think that she quite nailed it yet. She didn't really know fully what she was doing. Anyway, he phoned us out of nowhere And we invited him to come see what we'd done, turning the one Rife machine into 20 since he last talked to her, and the systems we'd put in place and the courses we created. And he was blown away, and he couldn't believe that 2 people in less than 4 months had created all of that. And he said, now I'm ready to invest. And he's now, in first week in December, we move into a 5-acre property in Berry, where he's agreed to let us reforest it with food forests. And there's a wellness hub that's 5 times the size of what we had in Nowra. And he's letting us have a 6-bedroom house for less than 10% of what he's getting on Airbnb.
Oh, there you go. I'm so inspired. Now tell me, when you manifest these things, it always turns out much bigger than you could have imagined. So
Yes.
what was your mantra? What were you asking for the universe to bring to you?
What we wanted, I've always had the vision to take our gym global. When I came out of that shower and I said, Nina, we're going to own a gym. I wanted to be able to take this remote healing global, because we know with quantum entanglement, we had 2 ladies join us from Greece last month, and they sent us their nails. So it doesn't matter where you are on the planet, you can still heal them remotely. And when I was sharing with Tony and showing him what we'd done, I said I need to upscale it to be able to make it go global. And he said, I've got the IT people, I've got the techs. I said, I can help you take it global. That was what we were doing in our manifestation. We needed an investor that could help me take this global.
So
You've got to know what you want, don't you? You've got
to know what you want.
Yes.
But you can't put it in a box expecting it to look a certain way.
Yeah.
Right? If you've watched the Celestine
Attachment
prophecy,
must go.
right? All you need to be vibing high enough to be aware of synchronicities when they come across your path. Because see, they're always there, but if your vibration isn't high enough, you often miss them, if that makes sense.
So the other part of the story,
yes,
Tony's wife has the jab. He didn't get the jab, but she's got stage 4 cancer. She's on her last legs. We are now giving her treatment. He's committed. We've given him a whole lot of resources and information. We're supporting her to get herself back to health, because the hospital's absolutely stuffed her up. So that's the other part, is that we actually get to be a contribution to this man as well.
It's always the 2-way street, isn't there?
Yeah. See, the thing is, we don't just do the vibrational medicine. Our goal is to get everybody off every pill, drug, tablet, medication. Yeah. All right. So we haven't even taken supplements. We haven't taken vitamins. We haven't taken essential oils. We do it all by frequency now in the last 3 months. And we make colloidal silver. So if anybody has it's an antivirus, antibiotic. All right. We make colloidal gold because it's good anti-inflammatory, and it's also, it dissolves the nanobots.
David Nixon's work.
If you watch his YouTube video, he shows how it dissolves the nanobots. And then the final piece to our puzzle for wellness is the chlorine dioxide. If anyone knows anything about that, we now make that. And it took us 4 months to be able to source those raw materials, because the Australian government's listed them as dangerous goods, so we can't get them. And we voiced it from one of our workshops, and someone in the audience says, I know an industrial chemist that can get it for you. And now we went into production last month and we make that as well. Yeah. So with those 4 wellness methodologies, we now no longer need the old illness model at all.
Yeah, that's important. That's my, anyone coming to the festival is absolutely going to, just fall in love with what's on offer here. And, I really think that there's going to be a lot of people who are coming who have like values, but, when people who, it doesn't matter, our jab, then bring them along, because they can come and get healed as well. Why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, what we need to stop as a freedom community is, this jabbed versus unjabbed, pure blood language. That's really disempowering for those that, some of the people that got vaccinated, like the fathers, they're heroes. They kept their families together. They didn't know they were being conned. So how can we stand in judgment and say, hey, you're jabbed, we're not? there are some great people that got vaccinated before they woke up. So, you know, one thing I noticed when I met Nina was that everybody in her town would come up and hug her. Didn't matter if they were vaxxed or unvaxxed. She was hugging 100 people a day. That's why our first meal we had to have at home. But I love that about Nina. So what we wanted was a wellness model that would get away, you got to knock down all these walls, these barriers. We need to come together as a race again, you know, so that we can all love. We need to start cuddling our family members again. Forget with whether they're jabbed or not. You know why? If you own your terrain and you clean your terrain theory is something you should celebrate now that you have the knowledge, because if you've got a really clean terrain, nobody can make you sick.
100%.
And if you can own that, then you can hug every family member that got vaccinated and return love to your family unit.
100%. I agree with that 100%. And because I operate on that mindset and frequency as well, then I have no problem hugging people wherever they are and whatever they do. In fact, I'm an over-hugger.
So are we. We teach about the power of 20-second hugs and how they heal. And for relationships, one of the gifts we give is the 10-second kiss. Do you know about that one?
No, I do not know about the 10-second kiss.
Okay. Now we do warn that if you've got to a point in your relationship where you're really busy and morning and night, you might give a half a second kiss. You know, see you, darling, because you're running out the door. Don't go from half a second to 10 seconds, because the people might think you've joined a cult. But slowly build up to 10. Now, the power of 10 seconds is that if you start your day and end your day with the 10-second kiss, you can't hide anything with your lips locked for 10 seconds. You feel it on your partner's lips, and it is so powerful.
Okay, so you're only talking about partners here. You're not talking about gender.
Yes. We make that distinction. In our workshops, we share 20-second hugs with our community, but the 10-second kisses we keep between ourselves.
Okay, good. Good, very cool. Love that.
No, I just will say that part of the reason why I'm, you know, in this space as well, I know because I know every nurse and doctor in this area. I know lots of nurses and doctors because of my role as a clinical nurse consultant. I was an Australian, you know, New South Wales representative for Parkinson's. I know a lot of doctors. So when they start waking up, they're going to need someone who is a little bit ahead of the game so that they can be supported. So they're going to be so scared and so angry when they realise what they've been a part of. And they need people around them that can envelop them and don't make them wrong and say, okay, you didn't know, let's move forward. You know, let's find a way to move forward. So that's the other thing. It hasn't happened yet, but, you know, I'm preempting my colleagues waking up to this dystopia nightmare.
We've kind of built it, build it and then they will come.
Yeah.
Because we've learned in the medical profession, even the ones that have woken up, a lot of them, they're either fighting still or, like Nina, they don't know how to reinvent themselves. So that's why we're going from community to community. We met a lady in Newcastle on Sunday, that's been a nurse for 31 years and same thing, you know. So unless we can get out there, we built it already. So now we're looking for them so we can train them on how they can, you know, re-enter their community as a healer and start to shine a light and give people brightness for the future. There are actually ways that they can, you know, take ownership for their wellness.
Now, I wonder, do you have any more slides or are you ready to take questions?
No, we'll take some questions because the other slides, they're also on our silver, our gold, and our terrain detox solution will all be for sale at your weekend.
And we're giving some as
the festival
prize as well, but we're giving some as a...
Yeah, remember we offered you for the raffle on your call last Thursday. We're giving you colloidal silver, colloidal gold, the terrain detox solution, and 3-month gym membership. So that's valued at $330. That's one of the raffle gifts for you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, there you go, guys. You heard it here first. You can get your raffle tickets at the festival and get those beautiful prizes. So do we have any questions from our participants here tonight? Because the one thing that I probably haven't told you, Craig and Nina,
Yes.
is that you do know that you have 2 45-minute time slots.
One for Kevin and one for us?
No, I've upgraded you. You
Okay.
can have 2 now if you like, 2 back to back. So
I'd love it, because then we could expand on these and we do
Yes.
one in between the two. Like,
Well, 'cause
instead
you'll
of our
get-
3 hour, we can do an hour and a half one.
No, it won't be an hour and a half. It'll be 2
Oh,
times
2:45.
This
Yeah,
the
yeah,
45.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, that's very
We'd
Thank
love-
you.
we'd
Thanks,
love that.
Kelly. That's good.
Yeah, so we're very excited to have you. And look, well, I guess for me, what you've shared tonight is I come from that philosophy and that background, and I've done that training. But you can never have enough, right? Because we always there's some things that we really presence, but sometimes we can slip back and forget to keep up those really good habits. And so it's really good to keep these things at top of mind.
Yeah.
And be practicing them daily. We can certainly fall out of the habit sometimes of grounding or gratitude, and so it's really good to keep these in front. So do we have any questions from anybody? Is everyone just in awe and there's just love listening to Craig and Nina? Feel free to I don't know if you want to stop share and we'll be able to see our gallery. Beautiful.
Can I just say that there's nothing special about us either. Everyone in here, everywhere, has potential to be the best human they can be. They've tried to stop, fluoridate us, they're poisoning us, and still we remain staunch and strong. So, but whatever this journey called you to be, listen with your heart. You'll find your place as we move forward in the 5D world.
Thanks, Nina, for that, because I think it is quite remarkable how quickly you guys, this transformation has taken place, and of what you've done with it, and on all the traveling that you're doing, setting this up over such a short amount of time. But really, that's where power lies. Like, there's speed has power. And so you've really made a difference to a lot of people over a short amount of time. So yeah, Gail says we absolutely look forward to seeing you in Kenthurst. And Tara said, so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your inventions with us and connecting with you in person. And Andrew said 100% agree, the true blood thing, so the seeds of division. So, we can absolutely knock down those walls and include everyone in our circle, and it's just tweaking our language a little bit, because we all want to be heart-centered, because we all want love, and as we put it out, we'll get it back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we think they're just gentle reminders, because once you stand in your heart center, you realize that you have access to all this knowledge anyway. Remember, that's the gateway, the portal to the collective consciousness of humanity. So if you can train yourself to stand in your heart center, you can access everything. Yes,
and vibrate so that we can manifest exactly what we want, and give ourselves permission to ask. I always tell people, that question, what do you want? That's the hardest question, actually, for people to answer, because we're used to being told what you can have, not really, putting it out there. What do you actually want? If, you could ask for anything, because we're most like I'm scared of asking for that, because, and I will say, we have to also be careful what we wish for, don't we? Because what if it does come true? Can you handle it?
Well, what we did learn, when you be first, then you can do, then it causes you to do, and then you have. But the whole world's taught us it's inverted. You can have it and then you'll be happy. No, you actually have to be it. It's part of the manifestation process.
Yeah, be, do, have, not have, do, be.
Yes. Yeah. Beautifully said. Beautiful. Well, we will close up the evening then. And thank you so much tonight and we've only got 10 sleeps to go. So
Thanks
We're
for having
excited.
us. Thank you.
We appreciate
Everyone
the
here.
time.
Thank you.
thanks everyone, and stay tuned. Next week we will be here next Tuesday, and we have actually James Mollison joining us, who is Bill Mollison's son. He has a story to tell. The famous permaculture Bill Mollison, who won't be with us because he's passed on, but we will have James with us, so very excited about that. So looking forward to seeing everyone next Tuesday.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Welcome to the My Self-Reliance Expo. It is a wet, rainy day in April, but we are having the best time.
Doing the chocolate wheel, actually no chocolate prizes, but spin the wheel for $1, win prize up to $50. Fantastic. All benefits going to My Self-Reliance.
And 3. We have taken the best of the speakers that we have on our Kawinda Community Connections every Tuesday night, and we brought them all together in this one place where people can experience all the good things that people have been sharing with us about. Ladies, and I have a little gift for you.
I'm Natalie, and I just made these homemade candles just the last couple of days.
It is an absolute winner of the day, despite the rain.
Reporting for Team Kelly here. She does amazing work. Loving it.
This is just the beginning for My Self-Reliance and bringing community together, because we're all about learning, education, workshops, highlighting people's skills and talents so that we can all learn from each other and cooperate in a way that, you know, we maybe haven't seen before. And certainly people who didn't think that they had skills to share are really shining in this space. So we're going to go from the expo. July we'll have a summit, so that'll be 20 speakers over 10 days, and then come spring in October we're actually going to do a 2-day festival. So that will be another opportunity to bring people out to the sunshine and get amongst it and really envelop it all over 2 days. So we're so thrilled that you can be here and enjoy the fun. And if you missed it, we hope that you come again to the next one. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks so much.